It was a bright Wednesday morning when Margaret decided it was finally time to buy a new car. She had saved up for years with her husband Walter, and now, with their children grown and out of the house, they wanted something comfortable, something luxurious, a reward for a lifetime of hard work. Margaret volunteered to go alone, thinking it would be a nice surprise for Walter. She arrived at one of the most prestigious car dealerships in Dallas, known for its high-end imports and flashy clientele. The place gleamed with spotless tile floors, glass walls, and polished cars that looked like they belonged in magazines. Margaret, dressed in her usual floral blouse, cardigan, and sensible shoes, stepped inside. Her handbag clutched close. She approached a young salesman standing by a desk. "Good morning," she said gently. "I'm interested in one of your luxury sedans, something comfortable for long drives." The salesman didn't look up from his phone. When he finally did, his eyes scanned her briefly before he gave a half-smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Ma'am, those cars are quite expensive," he said dismissively. "Our pre-owned section is outside, if you want to check those out." Margaret, slightly confused, replied, "I was hoping to look at something new. I'm ready to buy today." The salesman sighed and turned away. A moment later, the manager came over, clearly summoned. "Ma'am," he said in a patronizing tone, "these models start at over $60,000. We wouldn't want you wasting your time. Perhaps a different dealership might better fit your needs." Margaret felt her face flush. She wasn't angry, just disappointed. She nodded quietly and turned to leave without arguing. Outside, she stood still for a moment, looking up at the bright Texas sky. She felt a pang of sadness, not because they assumed she was poor, but because they treated her like she didn't matter. She returned home and told Walter what had happened, not with tears or outrage, but with calm honesty. Walter, a retired engineer known for his calm wisdom, listened quietly. When she finished, he stood, walked over to the phone, and made a call. Then he turned to Margaret and said, "All right, tomorrow morning we're going back. Together." Margaret didn't ask questions. She just nodded, already knowing that Walter had a plan, one that wouldn't involve yelling or revenge, but something far more dignified. They went to bed that night with peace in their hearts, and just a hint of anticipation for what the next morning would bring. The next morning, the dealership staff was bustling as usual. Salesmen in crisp suits leaned against gleaming vehicles, sipping coffee and sizing up potential customers. None of them noticed the black Rolls-Royce Phantom slowly pulling into the front lot until the engine cut off and a tall older man stepped out in a tailored suit. Walter adjusted his silver cufflinks and walked around to open the passenger door for Margaret, who stepped out gracefully, dressed in a soft blue dress and pearls. The sleek, custom Rolls-Royce gleamed under the sun, an unmistakable symbol of status. Heads turned immediately. The same manager who had dismissed Margaret the day before rushed outside, a forced grin on his face. "Good morning, sir, ma'am. Welcome to Belmont Elite Motors. Can I help you with anything today?" Walter glanced at him without a smile. "Actually, my wife came in yesterday hoping to buy a new car. She left empty-handed." His tone was cool, calm, but cutting. The manager blinked, suddenly recognizing Margaret. Yes, I believe I remember. There must have been some misunderstanding. We're deeply sorry." "She was told to leave because she didn't look like she could afford one of your cars," Walter interrupted. "That was a mistake. We came to spend 6 figures in cash. Now we're here to see whether you still deserve our business." The manager stammered, "Of course, yes, absolutely. Please come in. Let me personally show you around." Margaret looked the manager in the eyes. "No, thank you. I think we'll wait for the young man who helped that military couple in the corner yesterday. He seemed to have more integrity." An assistant salesperson was brought over, clearly nervous, but respectful. He greeted them warmly and showed them a selection of top-tier luxury sedans. Margaret smiled as she sank into the leather seat of a top-of-the-line model, knowing this would be the one. While Walter and the young salesman finalized the deal inside, Margaret stood quietly near the glass wall, watching the employees who had mocked her scramble to save face. A few of them avoided her gaze entirely. When the paperwork was finished, Walter paid in full. As he took the keys, he turned to the manager and said, "It costs nothing to treat someone with respect, but it can cost you everything if you don't." Margaret and Walter drove away in her brand new car, the purr of the engine as smooth as the satisfaction in their hearts. By the time they disappeared down the road, every employee in that dealership had learned a lesson that would echo long after the Phantom's taillights faded. What started as a simple errand turned into a powerful reminder: never underestimate someone based on how they look. Dignity, kindness, and grace often come wrapped in the most unassuming packages, and sometimes those packages roll up in a Rolls-Royce.